All right, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakah, HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the Lord's elect. This is the brother Yeshaya, part of Men of Valor, South Carolina. Right? This lesson is going to be about fasting. I don't know the title yet, but yeah, basically the importance of fasting. Now, I'm using this article as sometimes it's easier to catch, like the saying goes, it's easier to catch more flies with honey than vinegar or whatnot. Now, this is for not only the brothers that's doing the work and everything like that, but the brethren and the sisters not that's not actively teaching, so to say. And Lord didn't have your spirit allotted to actively teach. So but there's still things that you can do to honor, serve the Lord, and get Him to draw nigh to you. Get out of a dire strait, increase. Whatever you want. If it's in His will, and it's something that's gonna benefit you and not destroy you. Like you can't fast and pray and pray for a Dodge Charger, or stuff like that. First and foremost, when you fast, you're supposed to ask for the spiritual things. All right, just as King Solomon did. All right, King Solomon asked for the wisdom, basically the wisdom, knowledge, understanding to govern the people, and then the Lord said because that he did that, He gave him everything under the sun. Okay, so that's the first. That's the caveat right there. This is not a lesson about physical. The focused on like the physical benefits of fasting, but more so the spiritual benefits. But I'm gonna read this because it also has physical properties and physical benefits. Okay, and that's just a whammy or a double. What is it? A kicker to what you're doing spiritually. Okay, so if you have health issues, that's a day that can knock out two birds with one stone right there. If you're going through something, and as per your will, as per your relationship with the Lord, you're going through something, do a fast. Pray to the Lord, and even if it's a health issue, okay, that's like I said, it's a double, a double. I don't want to say double whammy or just it has multiple benefits. But anyway, I'm just gonna read a little bit of this article and get into the scriptures. The 8th health benefits of fasting backed by science. Fasting may provide several health benefits, including weight loss, improved blood sugar control, decreased inflammation. It might also offer protection against certain conditions like cancer and neurodegenerative disorders. Despite its recent surge of popularity, fasting is a practice that dates back to centuries and plays a central role in many cultures and religions. So, but moreoverly, this is a way that we connect and we get stronger to our power. Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Now, as Jacob is the former of all things, and all these, all of these religions and all of these, religions or whatnot, they're just that religions. They, basically copy off of our heritage that we actually use for our heritage, and they adopted it as their own. Okay, nothing wrong with that, but don't take you can't take credit for it. All credit is to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. All right, so defined as the abstinence from all or some foods or drinks for a set period of time. There are many different ways of fasting. In general, most types of fasts are performed over 24 to 72 hours. So 1 to 3 days, and especially if you're doing a dry fast, it's not good to go over 3 days, because 3 days without water, and we don't have bodies, and we're not spiritually as strong as we were thousands of years ago. Okay, when Daniel and Ezra was fasting, they fasted for multiple weeks on end. We can't do that. Okay, 3 days without water and you checking out. All right, intermittent fasting, on the other hand, involves cycling between periods of eating and fasting, ranging from a few hours to a few days at a time. So intermittent fasting is good as well. Okay, the apostles, the elder apostles, starting to Tahar on down, or through the Spirit, are pushing the Lord put the Spirit on them to push intermediate fasting and everything like that. But the fast that I'm going to focus on today in this lesson is a dry fast, aka abstaining from water and food for the duration of at least 24 hours, sun up to sundown. Okay. So here are some 8 benefits of fasting backed by science. You can, I'm just going to toggle through them. Promotes blood sugar control by reducing insulin resistance. Promotes better health by fighting inflammation. May enhance heart health by improving blood pressure, triglycerides, and cholesterol levels. Boosted brain function, aiding in weight loss, increasing growth hormone. So yeah, could extend longevity, may aid in cancer prevention, increase the effectiveness of, we don't do no chemotherapy, but yeah. So not to mention, well, first and foremost, the many spiritual benefits. It also comes with a slew, or a bevy of physical benefits as well. So like I said, I'm focusing on the physical aspect of this fasting, but that's just a little, introduction for the newcomers to, kind of, as per your relationship with the Lord, especially because we have a high holy day coming up, the Day of Atonement, okay, which requires 24 hours, a dry fast, no food and no water, okay, for sun up to sundown, a span of roughly 24 hours, okay. So yeah, it's not a bad thing to try to get into, man. But as per your walk with the Lord, and as per your body, okay. Some people can't do it, and that's fine and dandy. Okay, that's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself. But if you're able to do it, then this is a very key tool, in getting closer to the Lord, man. So let's begin in 1 Corinthians chapter 7, and this is going into the husband and the wife, but I'm gonna pick this point out of this verse. 1 Corinthians 7:5, defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, and Satan tempt you not for your incontinence. Dang, I can't say that. Incontinency. Incontinency. Hey, had a brain fart just now, man. Incontinency. Hey, we gotta get up out of these bodies, man. But yeah. So, like I said, the context of this is, the husband and a wife, man and woman. But you can draw out the point right here, fasting and prayer. Okay? Now, the Lord uses these two together as a tandem throughout the scriptures. And their main, the scriptures call it or refers to it as afflicting your soul. Okay, when you afflict your soul, or when you do a fast, a dry fast, and you communicate with the Lord, and you set a date out or whatever, other than the high holy day, the Day of Atonement, which is mandatory, but like in between time, I did lessons on this before, but we should be fasting throughout the year, not just one day, when we have to, because that shows, it's extra credit, and it shows the Lord that we're really trying. And just because it's mandatory, even though it is even though it's mandatory for one day, then we're still gonna take it upon ourselves to do this, man, because fasting and prayer is so important, man. It is so important. And when you fast, you pray, because I'm focusing on the fasting aspect, but fasting and prayer as a tandem, oh man, it works wonders. 1 Corinthians 7:5, once again, defraud ye not one the other, except to be with consent for a time, that ye may give yourselves to fasting and prayer, and come together again, that Satan tempt you not for your incontinency. I don't know why I'm messing up with that word, man. So let's move on. This is the book of Matthew chapter 9, and I'm going to start, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to start around the 14th verse. Then came the disciples of John, saying, why do we and the Pharisees fast oft, but thy disciples fast not? And Yahushua said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? Okay, the bridegroom is Yahushua, and the children of the bride chamber represents the elect, right? The men, the women, and the children. Okay, just not the brothers out here doing the work, not just the 144,000. The elect includes the 144,000 and the 1/3 remnant, which is the men, women, and children. Okay, as long as the bridegroom is with them. But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. Okay. Now no man putteth a piece of new cloth unto a old garment, for that which is put in to fill it up take it from the garment, and the rent is made worse. Neither do men put new wine in old bottles, else the bottles break and the wine runneth out, and the bottles perish. But they put new wine into new bottles, and both are preserved. So like I read through, but let's go back to 15. And Yahushua said unto them, can the children of the bride chamber mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken from them, and then shall they fast. So we are in those days right now. Ever since Yahushua walked the scene, and he was crucified, he did what he had to do to redeem us back to the Father, to redeem the elect back to the Father. Yahweh. That and when he left, okay, because he came back for a short space, taught with the disciples and everything like that. Okay, the apostles, broke bread with them. All right, told them, gave them the Holy Spirit, breathed on them. All right, and when he came back, when he came back, he left. It says why the angels had to rebuke them. I think it was Peter and some more disciples, but they were looking up and they were gazing. And they said this the same minute they left, he's gonna come back. So that was the start when he left. That's the start of him not being with us, man. Technically, it would be the 3-day period. After he was risen, and after that short space he left, but he came back, for a little bit. And right now and from henceforth, when he's on the right hand of the Father, that represents the days that the bridegroom is not with us. So we are those times to fast. All right. So let's move on to the book of Matthew, chapter 17, and let's go to verse. There it is. I'm gonna start at 18. Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him, and the child was cured from that very hour. Then came the disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast him out? And Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief. For verily I say unto you, if you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. Howbeit, this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So, that was a high level demon that the disciples tried to expel, out of that person, but they couldn't. Okay, that was a high level demon possessing that man and throwing him in the water and the fire. Okay, the boy. Okay, and they couldn't. That demon didn't even listen to the disciples, man, and they were around Yahushua. But Yahushua was the one that had to expel that demon out, and we have this lesson from that. Howbeit this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. So there is a certain, especially, we're in this walk, certain things happen. Okay, the lust of the flesh, man, you might, find yourself slipping, man. You're like, you know what? And then basically a fast coupled with praying is like a reboot for your system, a reboot for your spirit. So hey, I implore brothers to fast, man. All right, Esther chapter 4. Now this goes into the account with Mordecai and Esther, and Haman was basically trying to end us as a nation. All right, and we got together, and through Esther, proclaimed a fast, and through the spirit and power through the spirit and power of the Lord, and we were ultimately saved from us being ended as a nation. I guess this was in the Persian captivity. Yeah, and from this came the high holy day known as Purim. Okay, so I'm gonna get right to the point. Esther chapter 4 and verse 16, go gather together all the Jews that are present in Shushan and fast ye for me, and neither eat nor drink 3 days. So that's what you call a hard fast. No eating nor drinking, night or day. I also and my maidens will fast likewise, and so will I go unto the king, which is not according to the law, and if I perish, I perish. So Mordecai went his way and did according to all that Esther had commanded him. Now the point is, Esther said that she was going to fast. Now this is a perfect example of faith coupled with action. Okay, they had the faith to, you know what, we're gonna fast, we're gonna afflict ourselves, we're gonna eat, we're gonna afflict our souls, we're gonna abstain from drinking and eating, day and night and day. Okay, and you know through this, all right, we have basically what the thought process was that they will have more of a spiritual inkling, or more favor with the Lord, to put it, for lack of better words, more favor with the Lord, with that act of faith, aka fasting, man. And look, she was bold with it. Esther said if she gonna go into the king, because you couldn't go into the king, you had to be summoned, and you can get put to death for just coming into the king's quarters. But she was like, if I die, I die. So that's a strong showing of faith that we exhibited back then, and moreover we need to now. Okay, because we're in some hard times too. Hey, Haman's still trying to get us, man. And back to my point I was going to before. Now this is the prophet Daniel, one of the most powerful prophets that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua set up. And when he had his certain revelations, just as Ezra did, he fasted for a number of days, and he got that revelation. He actually got to saw Yahushua. How about that? Okay. Daniel chapter 10, in the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia. They go to Persian captivity again. A thing was revealed unto Daniel, whose name was Belshazzar, and the thing was true. But the time appointed was long, and he understood the thing, and he had understood the understanding of the vision. In those days, I, Daniel, was mourning 3 full weeks. I ate no pleasant bread, neither came flesh nor wine in my mouth, neither did I anoint myself at all, till 3 whole weeks were fulfilled. Now, there's a way that we ought to fast. Now, Daniel was doing this fast because it was a really, really deep, important fast. Okay, so he had to do it. He was mourning. Okay, now the scriptures tell us that it gives us a guideline on how to fast. Okay, let me get that real fast. Yeah, it gives us a guideline how to fast. So when you fast, you don't do the Daniel fast. Okay, you don't do the Daniel fast, and don't anoint yourself, and look like you're mourning. Okay, actually, let me go to it really fast while think about it. The book of Matthew, chapter 6. All right. We're going to go down to about the 16th verse. Moreover, when ye fast, be not as hypocrites of a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces, that they may appear unto men to fast. Verily I say unto you, they have their reward. So, and see, and from this example, you can tell that fasting has benefits, and you have to be a certain type of person to try to dedicate yourself, and you say, you know what, I'm not gonna pleasure my flesh for a period of 24 hours, 48 hours, if you really like that, 72 hours. Okay. All right. And they wanted to show men that, oh, look, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. No, the Lord said that when you do that, you have your reward. Okay, you're not supposed to do that. The fast is supposed to be between you and the Lord. Okay, of course we have an open fast, which is the Day of Atonement, which is next week. Okay, the 24th, I believe, Thursday night, Thursday sundown to Friday sundown. And still then, you don't just go out in the world and be like, you know what I'm saying? You got to anoint yourself, okay? Verse 17, but thou, when thou fastest, anoint thine head and wash thy face, that thou appear not unto men to fast, but unto thy Lord, Father which is in secret, and thy Father which seeth in secret shall reward thee openly. So, whenever you make a covenant with the Lord that you're going to set aside a day or whatnot, it's got to be between you and the Lord. Okay, don't appear to men to fast. You got to anoint yourself and do everything that you can, and the Lord will reward you spiritually, and everybody will see it. Instead of you having, the momentary, so-called glory of fasting, okay, or appearing to fast. So yeah, just wanted to bring that out. So back at Daniel, he said, okay, that 3 weeks, and in the 4th and 20th day of the first month, as I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel, then I lifted up my eyes and looked, and behold, a certain man clothed in linen, whose loins were girded with fine gold of Uphaz. His body was also his body also was like the beryl, and his face as the appearance of lightning, and his eyes as lamps of fire, and his arms and his feet like in color to polished brass, and the voice of his words like the voice of a multitude. So there you go, and that's the reward that that Daniel got. Okay, seeing Yahushua and getting this, a deep revelation, a deep prophecy, okay, so to say. And this has happened all throughout this book, man. All right, Second Ezra, chapter 5. Like I mentioned, Ezra, he did it as well. Here it is. Second Ezra 5 and 13. To show thee such tokens I have leave. And if thou wilt pray again and weep as now, and fast even days, thou shalt hear ye greater things. So if you're looking for more wisdom from the Lord, more knowledge, more understanding, okay, that's your way to go. Prayer and fasting. If you're looking to get out of a dire strait, okay, you might need to have your prayer expedited, and prayer fasting, and especially fasting, okay, is a way to expedite your prayers. Believe it or not. And I mean, I'm reading it to you right now. He's doing it, to basically get, greater things showed to him. And the reason for that is because when you fast or when you abstain from water and food, you basically put yourself on the level of an angel. All right, the angels in the heavens don't have to eat, they don't have to defecate, they don't have to drink, they don't get thirsty, they don't get hungry, okay, and they're fully in tune with the power, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shah. Now, when you do that, especially in this body, okay, you're basically letting your spirit shine through, and you're powering your spirit up, and then them prayers, they pierce the clouds, man. I promise you. All right. It's beautiful, man. All right, and the Lord gave us all these tools, even in the messed up situation that we're in, to please Him, okay, and to get benefits. All right. This is Isaiah chapter 58. Cry aloud and spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins. Ye seek me daily, and delight to know my ways as a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinance of their power. They ask of me the ordinance of justice, that they take delight in approaching to the Most High. Wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thou seest not? Wherefore has we afflicted our soul? And see, that's another way of speaking of fasting, afflicting your soul. And thou takest no knowledge. Behold, in the day of your fast find Slakia. Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. Behold, you fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as ye do this day, to make your voice to be heard on high. So there you go. All right. This is a good chapter. This is a great chapter to read about fasting, and it has a lot of nuggets in it. And this right here, verse 4, when you fast, you make your voice heard on high. But you had certain evil men that would do it and use it on the left hand side to try to get that spiritual uplifting, okay, that expedited prayer, and they wasn't right, okay, and they wasn't doing it right, okay. And that's what shows you that fasting is such a powerful tool, because it's used on the left hand side as well, or it's used not left handed, but like left handed, so to say. Uh, Verse 5, is it such a fast that I have chosen, a day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, meaning, to be in a humble state, and to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast and an acceptable day to the Lord? Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, that ye break every yoke? Um, yeah, Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house, which thou seest the naked, that thou cover him, and that thou hide not themselves from thy own flesh? Then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. So, amen. Fasting is a very important tool. It expedites your prayers. It makes your prayers heard on high. And if you're in a dire strait, if you really need the Lord and you really need something, and it's like, look at King David. Okay, King David, when his son was sick, okay, which it's all through the Spirit for that, because that child was made through adultery. Okay, which I mean most of us are, but that was King David. But anyway, that son was made through adultery, and the Lord made it sick. But it was all for a spiritual purpose, because that latter son was way greater than the first. Anyway, when King David, he wanted to expedite his prayer to the Lord for his son, he fasted 3 days. All right, no water, no food, and he got his answer, but it was all the Lord's will anyway. All right, same with Paul. He went blind. I think it was 3 days as well. He neither ate nor drank, prayed thrice, I believe, for his vision to come back, and the Lord removed those scales from his eyes, and he got his vision back. So just a couple examples. So I'm gonna end it with that. Lord willing, it was edifying, giving all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the Lord's elect. Shalom.